Hey everybody, it is Wednesday, February 16th, 2022. I'm driving home from work and I was trying to think at work about what I could talk about today because I don't just want to sing all the time. But one of the things that my friend Faye was talking about on Twitter was she was watching Star Trek: The Next Generation, and she mentioned Baby Worf or Young Worf playing with a remote control car. And I thought, what kind of toys would Star Trek people play with when they were kids? Just something off the wall it led me to, and I'm thinking to myself, so I said Worf would have been playing Magic the Gathering. I don't see anything else. I mean, there's some other toys he would have played with. He would have been very proficient with the Nerf gun, but I don't know what else he would have played with. For some reason, I feel like Geordi would have been playing with either Legos, possibly Barbies. For some reason, he just gives me that vibe, especially since he's so bad with women, and you don't really see him date, and him and Leia Brahms, that whole debacle. I think Geordi would have been playing with Barbies, maybe even Strawberry Shortcake. Commander Riker, G.I. Joe. And I think he would have had some fun also, so, maybe Transformers. Wesley would have been the kid that, and these are all 80s stuff, 70s stuff, because that's when I grew up. Wesley would have been the kid that when everybody else is playing with Transformers, he would have had GoBots, because GoBots sucked. I was as dirt poor as anybody else in the 80s. And you just didn't play with GoBots. If you couldn't play with Transformers, there you go, And that kid it was never failed. The kid that had GoBots was like, oh, let's play with these. Like, no, those suck. Well, but no, they're really cool. I'm like, stop trying to convince me they're cool. GoBots suck ass. And that would have been Wesley. Or you'd be playing Star Wars and have your Darth Vader and your Han Solo or Zuckuss action figures, and Wesley's trying to play with He-Man. Like, no, take your He-Man, shove him up your ass, Wesley. He does not belong with Star Wars. There's a time for He-Man. It's a very small amount of time, and not when we're playing Star Wars, jackass. So, that's what I feel about Wesley. Deanna, I have no clue what an empath, telepath, or any, Beta Z. I don't know what a Beta Z would play with. I feel like the match game would be too easy because, they see what you read your mind or what you flipped over and they'd win all the time. Or go fish. I feel like those kind of games would be too easy. Even hide and go seek, they could sense your emotions. So, I'm not really sure what a Beta Z would have played. Maybe dress up, She liked to wear dresses, at least in the beginning of the show. Or those skin-tight outfits that, she looked pretty good in. 7 of 9 looked better, but, Deanna looked pretty good. I think the fun girl to play with would have been Beverly. I mean, come on. Beverly, first of all, she was probably about 12 years old smoking weed. But she would have been the girl playing video games. She would have been playing Contra with you and Mortal Kombat. And, when you went outside, she would have found the coolest stick and made a gun out of it and kicked your ass playing, Army Man. So Beverly would have been the coolest. Data wasn't a kid, and I can see him looking at toys when he was first made, but I don't really see Data playing with a whole lot. Um, and that's the next gen. Most of the next gen crew. That's my thoughts on who they would have played with or what kind of toys they would have played with. If we go to DS9, Cisco is obviously playing baseball. That one's obvious. And I can't think of anything different to say about him because he was playing baseball. The motherfucker liked baseball. He even had a whole episode of the crew playing baseball on the holodeck. And as much as I love Deep Space Nine, I just could not stomach a whole episode about baseball. I love football and basketball. I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan, a Michigan football fan, and a Lakers. And but if I do watch baseball, I root for the White Sox. God, I don't like watching baseball. Dax is another one. Of course, we don't know what Dax was like before she joined. She would have been different. But just take Dax as she is and DH her and make her a kid. Dax would have been the girl taking a nickel for you to look down her pants. That's Dax. Julian. I don't know. Julian would have been too interested trying to get the girl. I just don't see him. Nothing comes to mind with him playing with toys like that. Miles. Miles probably would have been the kid. I don't know. Miles would have been playing with Hot Wheels cars. But I see him always as a kid eating chocolate for some reason. Everybody else is playing. While he's playing, he's eating chocolate. He's got it around his mouth. He's got it on his hands. Kira just didn't have time for toys. If she did, I honestly see Kira as a Barbie, another Barbie type person. So, her and Jordy could have played well together, I guess. That's really, I can't take too far because, I don't know. The next gen crew kind of stuck out at me. But the rest of them I'd have to really think about. So I'd like to move to something else. I'm excited for Obi-Wan Kenobi series. I don't know where they're going to go with it. Going backwards in time again. Star Wars seems to like to do that now. They want to jump around all over the time line. But that's all right. I can see with Boba Fett and Mandalorian and then Ahsoka and they're showing Luke and Grogu and all these different things. They're building a universe, and at 30 years between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, they're building a universe. I don't know what they're going to build with Obi-Wan. I imagine it's a one-off season. Yeah, there's only so much you can do. I always felt like Obi-Wan lived a boring life on Tatooine, communed with the Force and whatever. But maybe it'll have some excitement. I know. I'm happy that Hayden Christensen's back playing Darth Vader, or actually playing Anakin in flashbacks, or you know, anybody could have played Darth Vader, so it has to be Anakin. That'll be good to see. I liked him. A lot of people hated Anakin's acting or Hayden's acting in the prequels. I liked it. He was a kid taken at 8 or 9 years old from his parents, from his mom, from the only life he had known. And he's taken to outer space to go have adventures and be a Jedi, where you're not supposed to trust your emotions. You're not supposed to have your emotions will lead you to the dark side. And you're not supposed to have attachments. You're not supposed to fall in love. You're not supposed to do all these things. But he's 8 or 9 years old. Of course he is. And he got taken from his mom. And, he's trying to learn. But then 10 years later, he sees Padme. And, he had such a crush on her. And all this stuff happens that I think it's how it should have been. I think Hayden acted like Anakin would have acted in that situation. So, I feel like a lot of people are online talking about the prequel or about the sequels wanting to be erased. That Filoni and Favreau are working towards a whole new outbranch of timeline. Well, they're not. The sequels were not my favorite movies. I was a little disappointed in how some of it happened. But, it's Star Wars. Be thankful that we have it. I liked The Force Awakens. I didn't like Han Solo dying because he's one of my favorites. But he had to. To get Harrison Ford to come back, Han had to be killed off. But I feel like they wasted that because that should have really propelled Kylo into being the bad guy. And it didn't. I feel like when Kylo stood there saying, Dad, help me. I know what I need to be, but help me. I feel like he really was like on the knife. Good guy, bad guy, good guy, bad guy. What do I do? And he, I wish, just like in episode 4, when we heard Obi-Wan Force Ghost saying, use the Force, Luke. I wish we would have heard Snoke talking to Kylo, giving him, do it, something, remember your training, kill him, become the Jedi Master you want to be, take over for your grandfather, something, and then him turning more dark and having a redemption arc. Instead of what we got was, Kylo did that, but then he's trying to get Rey onto his side. He'll turn against Snoke and everybody because he loves Rey. And we got a half and half Jedi Sith. But the prequels were not bad. They or the sequels were not bad. They were I don't even know where I was. But my whole point is the sequels aren't going anywhere. I would have done stuff differently. Everybody would have done stuff differently a little bit. I would have made Finn a Jedi. They started out hinting at that in The Force Awakens. He had the lightsaber, even though, I know they showed it to Rey, but he was using it. He had this feeling. Everything was leading towards Finn being a Jedi, which would have been really awesome. And and they dropped it. I don't know for what reason. I don't know, what was going on, but they made Finn into just, really, for a minute there, he was a coward. He didn't want to go fight. He was afraid of going back anywhere near the First Order. In the second movie, he was afraid again. They were following me. I got to escape. No, man, you're in Star Wars. Kick their ass. But, so that'd be my number one thing. I don't really have a problem with Rey. Because, I did. But the more you think about it, Luke came into his powers just as easily as she did with just as little bit of training. So I don't have a problem with Rey. I had a problem with Finn not being a Jedi. I have a problem, or with his character being wasted, really. And the one thing, Star Wars, Lando Calrissian was cool. And Mace Windu was badass. But they're known for not having a lot of African American actors in Star Wars. So when you get one that is a good actor and people like, do it. Make him badass. But movies aren't going anywhere. They're not going to rewrite them. They're not going to overdo them. It just is what it is. I see Grogu choosing to be with the Mandalorian as Luke's first real loss or mistake, I guess, Everybody knows the Jedi had really kind of lost their way in the prequels, that they never even saw a Sith leading the Republic. But, I understand the thing with the Jedi, that the attachment and taking them as kids and teaching them, because you can't have kids with these powers just not being able to control themselves. And here's Grogu, even though he's not a kid, he's 50 years old or whatever, but you got Grogu, you can't let him just go running around like that. You got to teach him how to use the Force. And maybe he'll come back. Maybe something, I hope not, but maybe something will happen to Din, and Grogu will go back to Luke. Or, maybe later in life he'll go to Rey. By that point, I think he could probably teach Rey stuff, and she can teach him stuff. So that might happen. But whatever it is, it's not going anywhere. If you don't like the sequels, then, go past me, motherfucker. If you don't like the sequels, then, it's fine. People don't have to like them. People don't, like everything. Leave them for other people to like. Don't complain about them. The EU was excellent. The expanded universe. It got a little wonky at the end, but it really was great. And I'm going to make videos talking about them. I'm started rereading the books, and, we'll talk about it more when we get there. We can talk about the sequels more too, but this is my drive home, and I'm home. So I'll talk to everybody tomorrow.